Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about the Dear John video and a select few Islanders fans getting very salty about John Tavares. Now, John Tavares makes his return against the Islanders on the 27th, and some salty New York Islanders fans made a video about it. So what do they have to say about Tavares? Watch till the end to find out. But with Tavares coming back to New York on the 27th, some Islanders fans took it upon themselves to whine about John Tavares in a pretty cringy and pretty entertaining video called Dear John. Now, we're going to be reacting to it in this video, and it's honestly just pretty bad.
Dear John.
Dear John.
Dear John.
Okay, we're already 9 seconds into this video, and I already cannot stand it whatsoever. Now, at the start, you had all the people in this video saying, Dear John, and of course, then you have the little cutscene there, little message with the Dear John and the kind of sophisticated font. Then you have the Islanders logo in the background, and of course, you got Tavares in a Maple Leafs jersey. But it sets the tone for a pretty cringy video, and the start definitely did not disappoint.
We're not just only the Islanders captain, you were the fans captain too.
Oh my gosh, you're not just the Islanders captain, you're the fans captain? Is that the best they could really come up with? I mean, when it comes to, it just seems like they're kind of acting. It seems like so far, at least, they're just acting. And it just baffles my mind how this video was even conceived, because, of course, they're the fans captain. I mean, that's what the captain is supposed to do. He's supposed to engage in the community, rile up the team, have the team play well. He's supposed to be the captain of the franchise and the, I guess, the fan base as well. That makes sense, and that's pretty much just a captain in today's NHL.
We thought you were a class act, but looks like it was just all an act.
Oh my gosh, this is the one that really gets me. We thought you were a class act, but it was all just an act. This one really gets me. There were some bad quotes in this video, but this is one of the worst ones. It's just bad. John Tavares had an option of going to the Islanders in the offseason or re-signing with the Islanders. He had that choice, but the Islanders just were not a great team at that point. There wasn't too much to look forward to at that point, and John Tavares got the opportunity. His hometown team, the team that he grew up with, wanted to sign him, and not many players will give up that opportunity. John Tavares making a bold decision, but it's one that the Islanders fans and the Islanders just shouldn't take to heart, because it was one that the John Tavares in the first place wanted to make.
You remember saying that you loved Long Island.
I've always stated how much I love it here.
Do you remember saying how great players stay with their team their whole careers, and how you wanted to do the same?
This is obviously where I hope to be, and I've always stated that.
Do you remember saying how you wanted to lift a Stanley Cup here in Nassau with the Islanders?
Okay, first off, what this girl was saying was, I can see where she's going for, but I'm just distracted by how much hair is in her face because of the just wind in general. I mean, you would have thought the cameraman would say, hey, we'll cut this part, you know, you can't even talk right now because hair is in your mouth. But no, they decided to go with it because reasons. Now, I do get what this girl is saying. I do get what she's coming from. John Tavares is saying that he wanted to win a Stanley Cup there. But let's be honest, doesn't every single player say that, or at least every single star player say they want to win a Stanley Cup wherever they're at? Unless they're like a Sergei Bobrovsky who is almost certain to go to another team in the offseason or something. Usually the star players of the team say stuff like that in the offseasons, coming into practices, coming into the season. That is usually a pretty blanket statement that John Tavares and many other players made, so it doesn't surprise me. I mean, a lot of players do want to actually win the cup. Surprise, surprise. And going back to what John Tavares said earlier in that quote, saying that he loves it in New York, I mean, he better love it there, because he was stuck on that place for 9 years, consistently not making the playoffs and having great years wasted because of terrible team performance. So yeah, I better hope he likes it in Long Island, because if he didn't, that would have been torture.
You went from being the captain, the savior, the chosen one, to a lying
Traitor.
snake, pajama boy.
Oh, dang, they're going after John Tavares in this video, calling him a snake, calling him a pajama boy, even though in that original picture of John Tavares, he was in a Maple Leafs blanket rather than actual pajamas, so we don't even know if he was wearing Maple Leafs pajamas, but hey, whatever you want to say to make yourselves feel better, am I right?
I'm kind of happy that this happened when it did, so my son didn't grow up having that heartbreak, having you leave. He's too young to understand that.
Okay, this clip is just so wrong on so many levels. Now, first, this kid is, I just feel bad for him. Like, this kid is like, what, like 1 year old, maybe 2 years old at max, and this kid's gonna be embarrassed for the rest of his life being in this video. A lot of people know this video already, a lot of people have seen it. This poor kid is gonna be grown up as the kid that wished, or the kid that wasn't in the John Tavares era, or wasn't able to remember it. But this dad just puts his kid in there for no reason whatsoever, just to say, oh, he won't grow up with the heartbreak. Give me a break. This guy is like 40 years old. I bet he can handle it. And I just feel bad for the kid, because this is like a 2-year-old kid who has zero clue what is going on. He has zero clue. He doesn't even know that he's wearing an Islanders jersey. Not like me, at least. I mean, this kid has no reason to be here. He has no say in what happens. And he was just plopped in this video for the namesake of going after John Tavares, which, for this kid growing up, I'm just going to feel bad for him, because he will always be that guy and that kid that was in this video.
If you had stayed, you would have been under the best coach, Barry Trotz. You would have gone from being a good player to a great player.
Now, this clip just confuses me. I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Yes, he is a great coach. Barry Trotz is fantastic. But John Tavares wasn't a great player before? What? Are you saying that one of the best players that in New York Islanders franchise history, and one of the best players during his 9 years in New York, you're not saying that he's a great player? That's the thing that irks me, because if you're going to make this big of a deal on just a good player, you have some problems, and some big ones.
Your legacy as an Islander, it's tarnished. Forever.
Oh, you could just see it in his voice, man. You could just hear it. That guy was about to cry, and I feel bad for him. I mean, the guy was swelling up. He was getting up there. He was about to cry, making that 5-second statement. And I get it. John Tavares being one of the best players in that generation. I get him going and you guys losing him. I get that heartbreak. But the Islanders are in such a great position now that you shouldn't even be worrying about it. But this guy is still about to cry pretty much, what, like 7 months later.
Guess what? We're fine.
Oh my gosh. This one, guess what? We're fine. Oh my gosh. If you were really fine, if you were really sane, would you be making a video like this? Why would you be going out complaining and whining like this if you were fine? Give me a break. Absolute baloney. You know inside of yourself, you are not fine. You are still salty and mad as heck about this Tavares deal, about him going to this Toronto Maple Leafs. You are not fine. At least be honest with yourself.
The Islanders are going to win a cup without you, with the kid who won the Calder.
Got some great pieces, and obviously lean with the kid who won the Calder Trophy this year.
He has a name. His name is Matt Barzal.
Now, John Tavares actually did forget Matthew Barzal's name. That is actually pretty bad luck. I do agree with that part. But I'm going to go back to the girls of Jersey and all the autographs on her, because I actually do respect that.
Goodbye, John.
Thanks for leaving.
Say good riddance. Say bye.
And February 28th, we will chant as loud as possible, "We don't need you," because we don't.
And that is the end of a very interesting, entertaining, and also just completely bad Dear John video. But it's an absolute classic. I love that they ended up doing this stupid of a video, because I get to talk about it on this channel. But it's just a stupid video. It just doesn't make sense. And if you don't need him, then don't make a whole video talking about how many great memories you had with him. How about you just boo him? Do whatever you like, but it just, in this video, it seemed like pandering. It seemed like you're trying too hard, and in the end, you ended up making John Tavares as the enemy, which, let's be honest, he completely isn't. And to all the normal and fine Islanders fans out there, I just want to say sorry to you guys, because you guys have to deal with these kinds of people saying, we don't need John Tavares. Of course you don't. You're playing well. How about you enjoy it for once? There are some great Islanders fans out there. I know a lot of solid Islanders fans, but some of them just need to chill, and the people in this video, oh my gosh. Obviously, there's a lot of dumb people in every fan base, but this is just the cream of the crop. Okay, I take that back. Maybe not dumb, but very irrational, very emotionally unstable, and just very salty people. I mean, when it comes to New York, there was a good point made by Adam Wylie on the Steve Dangle podcast. He said that Islanders fans and just New York fans in general are used to people and free agents coming in rather than free agents leaving. And that's a great point, because with John Tavares, he's one of the few guys that leaves New York for another team to get a great pay raise and a great time. But usually when it comes to like the Yankees and all the other New York teams, like New York fans just aren't used to that kind of thing. Other players going out instead of coming in. So it's somewhat of a surprise for Islanders fans that he didn't end up resigning and he actually went to a team that he actually wanted to be in. And for the crazy Islanders fans that were in this video, it just seemed like John Tavares came into their home after he signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs and broke in and just stabbed them in the heart physically. And I feel like some Islanders fans definitely feel that emotionally, but people are taking this so personally, making John Tavares to be out like this terrible person that left his hometown team even though he went to his own team that he cared and loved already. It just doesn't make sense for the Islanders' perspective. Again, when it comes to the Islanders fans' mindset, they shouldn't be crying about John Tavares leaving. This is the worst time to do that because the Islanders were ahead of the Maple Leafs in the standings for so long and they're only 1 point behind them. And Tavares coming into town, it should be a great opportunity to showcase how good the team is without him instead of whining about the good old times of John Tavares and missing the playoffs. And it's not like John Tavares did nothing for the New York Islanders franchise. He was a captain for a long time. After his ELC, he was paid $5.5 million until he signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. An absolute bargain of a deal, and one of the best contracts in the league for a super long time. And John Tavares did more of the Islanders franchise than a lot of other players in franchise history have done. He was an amazing player in a terrible stretch of New York Islanders history, and while it wasn't the early 2000s or the late 1990s bad, it was still bad enough to where John Tavares looked at the franchise and said, hey, I want to go to somewhere different. I want to go to my hometown team. And for the Islanders, that should be the main insult. Not creating a team good enough for John Tavares. And John Tavares deserves a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs after what he has gone through in his career. And the Islanders shouldn't be mad. They should be sad at the wasted potential with him. A lot of people compare Steven Stamkos and John Tavares because they were both first overall picks in back-to-back years, I do believe. But when it comes to Steven Stamkos, he had a good opportunity to sign with the Maple Leafs, but the Lightning were an amazingly successful team in Stamkos' time, and he had an opportunity to win multiple cups. But with John Tavares looking back on the Islanders, could he really say to himself that he would win any cups in New York after the terrible teams that he's been given to lead over the last few years? It just made too much sense to go to Toronto, who likely will win at least one cup, and I would say at least. And if you really are fine, if you really are okay, move on from John Tavares, focus on the young team that you have right now. Focus on Barzal, focus on Anders Lee, focus on Robin Lehner, who's having a Vezina-type season this season. Focus on the guys right now instead of paying more attention to John Tavares, who left the team that he wanted to go to after New York pretty much disobeyed him time after time, giving him terrible team after terrible team. Respect John Tavares' decision and move on for once. It has been months since that decision has been made by John Tavares. It's been months since he signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's about time the New York Islanders finally move on from that decision and move on from John Tavares, because if they don't right now, they will never. And the Islanders are a good team and a good product that is worth paying attention to right now. And it must be a slap in the face to the Islanders players right now playing out of their minds. What must Anders Lee be thinking right now, being the captain of the New York Islanders, while all the fans are still salty and focused on John Tavares and what the Maple Leafs are doing this week? It just is a slap to the face for a team that is playing out of their minds, playing above everybody's expectations. And the Islanders have been one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise of the season, and they deserve to be recognized. They deserve to be watched by the own Islanders fans. And when they go and do stuff like this, pretty much going all over the good times with John Tavares and how they are he's just so disrespectful for going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's just a slap to the face for them and the management of that team. For Islanders fans, I just have one mission for you guys. Focus on the team right now. Start buying Anders Lee jerseys. Start buying Matthew Barzal jerseys. Start looking forward to the new stadium coming. Start looking forward to Barry Trotz and how he's already transformed this team. Start looking forward to the great prospects like Kiefer Bellows, Noah Dobson, Oliver Wahlstrom. Look forward to the now and the future for the New York Islanders because it is definitely bright, especially if the goaltending continues to keep up. The defense continues to be solid. Right now, if you're an Islanders fan, it is a pretty good time if you're paying attention to the team itself and not John Tavares and the good old days, because let's be honest, they weren't good days. John Tavares was a great captain, but those were terrible times for the New York Islanders. But again, with the big game, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the New York Islanders in Nassau Coliseum, it's going to be a very rowdy game. It's going to be a very fantastic game to watch. So I'm really going to be looking forward to it. There's going to be a lot of Islanders fans that end up booing. But remember, to all the Islanders fans or NHL fans, whatever it might be, pay attention to the New York Islanders, pay attention to the future and the now for them, because it is bright and they're playing well pretty much under everybody's radar. But the big thing here, of course, is for some of the Islanders fans to move on from this subject. When it comes to John Tavares, it's getting quite old already, and we've already seen that throughout the offseason. So just remember, John Tavares is a Maple Leaf and not a New York Islander. But of course, with this video, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know, what are your thoughts on this crazy video that the Islanders, or some Islanders fans made? What do you think about some of their opinions, some of their facts, or some of their thoughts? Let me know also what you think about John Tavares, him leaving for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Do you think that Islanders fans have the right to be salty, and do you think they should be mad? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video about Don Cherry and him getting triggered over the Canes storm surge. But that is what for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on this video and John Tavares and the whole situation in New York surrounding him. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.